Bro, we need to talk about what just happened, because we just witnessed absolute cinema. Like, I'm genuinely still processing this. If you went into this expecting just a straightforward, gritty, physical brawl up on some mountain, you were entirely mistaken. What we actually got was so much darker. It was a complete masterclass in psychological warfare, an absolute surgical deconstruction of a human mind happening right in front of our eyes. We're watching a storyline that completely flips the script, taking what should be a basic physical threat and turning it into a terrifying display of how words, cold logic, and raw emotional manipulation can permanently break someone down. I mean, think about it. A physical fight? That's over in 10 minutes. You get some bruises and move on. But psychological warfare? That leaves scars that literally never fade. To understand why this happened, and the terrifying realization it leaves us with regarding Ayanokoji's true nature, we need to go back. We need to look at every single hidden detail from this absolute masterpiece of a breakdown.
Let's drop straight into the deep end, right before the main event kicks off. While Ayanokoji and Nanase are making that tense hike up the mountain, we get this crazy side interaction where Amasawa intercepts Kushida in the woods. And Kushida, man, she is creeping through the trees, tracking them on her tablet, and in her head, she genuinely thinks she is playing 4D chess. What she wants everyone else to think is that she's just this innocent, helpful classmate taking a casual solo hike. But what she actually feels? Pure, malicious intent. Her whole grand plan is to film Nanase attacking Ayanokoji, or even better, catch Ayanokoji fighting back. Boom, instant undeniable evidence to get him expelled. She truly deeply believes she's the ultimate mastermind here, just pulling the strings from the shadows like a genius. But we have to stop and ask ourselves, why on earth is a first-year student like Amasawa risking her own neck, wandering around the dangerous wilderness just to violently protect Ayanokoji from a stalker?
Amasawa just looks at her and bluntly states, "I'm just here to save Ayanokoji-senpai." Okay, but here's the thing. She didn't just stumble upon Kushida by accident. Amasawa read her every single move with a terrifying level of situational awareness. Kushida tries to play it off, doing her usual fake sweet routine, acting like she's just out enjoying the scenery in the middle of a massive, high-stakes special exam. Bro, who does she actually think she's fooling? Amasawa sees right through the innocent act instantly. Kushida genuinely believed she was the apex predator of this entire school, completely outsmarting everyone around her. But Amasawa just casually dismantles her entire scheme in seconds. She proves that Kushida's amateur trailing technique was literally never going to work on someone as hyper-aware as Ayanokoji anyway. Amasawa wasn't going to let it even get that far. Her ability to track the person doing the tracking, that shows a level of predatory instinct that Kushida simply does not possess.
And it gets so much worse. Amasawa doesn't just stop at blocking Kushida's path, she physically and mentally breaks her. Let's just slow down and appreciate the pacing of this exact moment. When Kushida tries to keep up that cute, innocent facade, Amasawa literally slaps her. Just a casual, deeply disrespectful slap right to the face. In a show where everything is usually mental chess, physical violence is jarring. The silence that follows that slap is deafening. And when Kushida gets desperate, threatening to cry to the school about violence, Amasawa just drops the nuke. She reveals that she knows Kushida's dark middle school secret. No way. The visible fear that washes over Kushida's face right there is brutal to watch. Her entire narcissistic persona just shatters in real time. What this specific moment costs Kushida is her entire sense of security. She realizes she's completely outmatched, totally powerless, and entirely at the mercy of a first year. She is absolutely cooked.
But we have to reframe Amasawa's motive here, because if you're thinking this is just some cute underclassman crush, you are dead wrong. When Kushida asks if Amasawa likes Ayanokoji, Amasawa just laughs it off as a completely low-level concept. She says it's love, sure, but even more than that, it's an emotion that transcends love. This is a terrifying, twisted obsession. It proves without a single shadow of a doubt that Amasawa is deeply tied to Ayanokoji's dark past. She even hints that she is a special existence who sees everything. Think about the difference here. Viewing someone as a crush means you want their attention. But viewing someone as a literal deity, that makes you incredibly dangerous. You don't just want to be near them, you will violently crush absolutely anyone who dares to interfere with their existence. This level of blind devotion, combined with her lethal combat skills and tactical genius, practically screams White Room.
Now, as wild as that showdown was, we desperately need a massive stakes reminder right now. Because while the kids, like Kushida, are out here playing high school games with tablets and petty gossip, the adults are literally altering reality behind the scenes. We cut over to acting director Tsukishiro and Shiba. They aren't just sitting in a boardroom plotting, they are actively hacking and rigging the exam. They openly discuss how they've already falsified the GPS and action logs so they won't leave a single trace of their movements. Think about the godly level of control Tsukishiro has over this island. He's openly planning to bury Ayanokoji in the designated area before the final day, just erasing him from the school entirely. It's a chilling contrast. The students think they are fighting a tough battle for class points, but the adults are playing a completely deadly game of survival, cornering teenagers in the woods with absolute, unchecked authority.
And the stakes skyrocket into orbit when Ichinose accidentally overhears this entire conspiracy. She steps out from the trees, caught dead to rights by two ruthless, powerful adults. Tsukishiro's reaction to getting caught is exactly what makes him so terrifying. He doesn't panic, he doesn't even raise his voice. He just casually tells Ichinose that adults have to plan for the worst-case scenarios. And then he drops the hammer. He tells her that if this conversation ever leaks to anyone, he will forcefully retire a group of her second-year Class C classmates, specifically targeting the ones who don't have enough private points to save themselves from expulsion. Look at Ichinose's character depth in this moment. She isn't scared for herself at all. She is utterly terrified of her friends becoming collateral damage. Tsukishiro leverages her absolute biggest weakness, her deep love for her peers. He casually threatens to destroy innocent kids just to keep it quiet. Cold. Absolutely cold.
The atmosphere shifts instantly as we return to the mountain, the calm right before the storm breaks. Ayanokoji and Nanase finally stop walking. The isolation is palpable, and right there, Nanase drops the respectful junior act entirely. The facade is gone. She looks him dead in the eye and says the quiet part out loud. "You are a human of the White Room." She openly admits she was sent by Tsukishiro with one specific singular mission to get him expelled. And her plan? It's actually brilliant in its brutal simplicity. She intends to violently attack him, force him to defend himself, and trigger the emergency alert on their smartwatches. Once the teachers arrive at the scene, the school's strict rules mean mutual violence equals mutual expulsion. Think about what this moment costs her. She is fully prepared to throw away her entire future, her academic career, and her normal life, just to take him down.
And how does Ayanokoji react to a highly trained martial artist rushing him with the sole intent to destroy his life? Bro, he is so unbelievably cold. This is a massive audience mirror moment for us. In any normal anime, the protagonist would shout, try to reason with her, maybe get defensive, or show some kind of shock. Not Ayanokoji. He just stands there. He literally lets Nanase swing at his face, dodging by pure millimeters. He doesn't even blink. He just counts the strikes out loud, completely deadpan. That's one, that's two. Just to let you know, that's the third strike. He doesn't fight back because he knows striking her would trigger her trap. But more than that, he's just coldly analyzing her. He's downloading her attack patterns, measuring her stamina, testing her emotional state. He casually notes that if her second hit had actually connected, it would have been game over. But he knows with absolute certainty it won't connect. He is treating a literal life or death brawl like a minor physics equation.
But then we hit a moment that perfectly mirrors our own absolute shock. Nanase realizes she can't hit him. She stops in her tracks, her entire demeanor fractures, and her voice literally shifts. The pitch drops significantly. The cadence of her speech changes completely. It is incredibly unsettling to hear. She looks at Ayanokoji and says, "I am not Nanase. The one standing here now is Matsuo Aichiro." No way. A dead man. She is claiming that the spirit of Matsuo Aichiro, the son of the butler who originally helped Ayanokoji escape the White Room, has possessed her body to exact his revenge. She firmly, genuinely believes that she is no longer a high school girl, but a vengeful ghost acting out of pure, unadulterated hatred. It is a wildly terrifying psychological break happening right in the middle of the wilderness, and it changes the entire context of the fight.
To truly understand why this happened, we have to unpack the tragic timeline of Matsuo Aichiro. Aichiro was her childhood friend, her absolute idol, the person she looked up to most. When Ayanokoji escaped the White Room a year ago, it was Aichiro's father who helped him get away. In brutal retaliation, Ayanokoji's monstrous father systematically destroyed the entire Matsuo family. He blocked Aichiro's academic paths, got the father fired from his job, and relentlessly hunted them into poverty until the father tragically died. Left with absolutely zero options and his entire life completely ruined for a boy he had never even met, Aichiro committed suicide. When you sit back and think about the sheer, devastating unfairness of this, Nanase's hatred is entirely justified. Her entire world was destroyed as mere collateral damage in Ayanokoji's messed-up family drama.
Aichiro paid the ultimate price for Ayanokoji's freedom, and Nanase was left totally alone to carry that unbearable grief.
This tragic lore drop leads directly into the true climax of the episode, where Ayanokoji surgically dismantles her mind. Nanase genuinely believes she is possessed by the Matsuo persona, drawing on some kind of supernatural strength from his vengeful spirit. But Ayanokoji, he hits her with the coldest, hardest truth imaginable. He completely and utterly invalidates her reality. He tells her straight up, there is no possession, there is no split personality. It is simply self-hypnosis. She was so completely overwhelmed by grief and powerlessness that her brain forcefully created a secondary persona as a desperate coping mechanism, a massive trauma response just to survive the agonizing pain of losing Ichiro. He breaks down the fact that her sudden burst of physical strength is just her accessing her own natural human potential, unlocked by the psychological trigger of changing her pronouns and hyping herself up.
His combat strategy here is genuinely terrifying when you break it down. Step 1. Dodge perfectly without a single ounce of physical retaliation, rendering her smartwatch trap entirely useless. Step 2. Let her exhaust her physical stamina entirely by throwing wild, highly emotional punches into thin air until she literally can't breathe. Step 3. Once her body is too heavy to even move, shatter her psychological illusion with cold, undeniable logic. He proves in this sequence that he never wanted to break her body, he needed to completely break her spirit. This really highlights his cruelty. He needed to forcibly strip away the Matsuo shield she was hiding behind and force the real, grieving Nanase to face her raw trauma head-on. He tells her that a real possessing spirit wouldn't be this desperately agitated. He literally logic checks a grieving, broken girl's trauma while she is physically exhausted on the ground.
And just when she is completely broken, kneeling in the dirt, sobbing over the loss of her best friend, Ayanokoji lands the emotional weight of the episode. He doesn't gloat, he doesn't mock her. He actually offers her a warm hand. He tells her, "My continuing to stay at this school is my only attack against that man." It feels like the ultimate, classic anime enemies to allies moment. He brilliantly reframes the entire narrative for her, explaining that if she gets him expelled, she's actually doing exactly what his evil father wants, effectively betraying Matsuo's final ultimate sacrifice. He offers her a brand new purpose: survive in this school with him. By simply existing and defying his father's orders together, they are exacting the ultimate shared revenge. It is an incredibly moving, powerful moment of solidarity. It genuinely makes you feel like maybe, just low-key maybe, Ayanokoji actually has a heart beating in his chest.
Wait, hold on, because this is the exact moment that changed absolutely everything, and it is the darkest, most twisted, hidden detail of the entire episode. We as the audience are sitting there feeling the emotional catharsis. Nanase is crying, swearing her absolute loyalty to him, promising to be his weapon and his shield. But then, Ayanokoji's internal monologue drops, and it permanently alters how we view his kindness. He doesn't actually care about her feelings. He doesn't care about her grief or Matsuo or the horrific tragedy that ruined her life. He simply recognized a broken, vulnerable person and flawlessly tailored a psychological speech to weaponize her trauma. He gave her exactly what her shattered mind needed to hear, to secure a highly capable, fiercely loyal pawn in his escalating war against Tsukishiro. This completely shatters any illusion that Ayanokoji is becoming a better, more empathetic person. His empathy was entirely manufactured. He didn't save Nanase, he reprogrammed her. He completely manipulated her soul just to serve his own selfish ends. Which brings us to the most terrifying realization of the entire breakdown. In that dark internal monologue, he openly admits to himself, he and I are essentially the same, utilizing useless people so they can be of use. Ayanokoji is reflecting on his father, the man he supposedly hates more than anything else in the entire world. The man who destroys lives, ruins families, and treats human beings as disposable, inanimate objects. And right here, in the dark recesses of his own mind, Ayanokoji embraces the deep, sickening irony. He is becoming exactly like the monster he ran away from. They both look at human beings as nothing more than tools. Even if a tool seems useless or broken by grief, the true mark of their twisted genius is finding a way to manipulate that person until they become useful again. He is acutely, chillingly self-aware of his own sociopathy. He didn't conquer Nanase as a friend or a trusted ally, but as a master claiming a loyal, obedient dog. And that dark reality leaves us with a massive, unresolved thread hanging over the rest of the season. Think about it. Tsukishiro sent an elite assassin up that mountain, fully expecting an expulsion notification.
Instead, Ayanokoji is going to walk down that mountain with Tsukishiro's own assassin now acting as his fiercely loyal guard dog. The adults are already out there rigging logs and threatening innocent students with collateral damage. The escalating war between the White Room's ultimate masterpiece and the school's ruthless acting director is about to explode in a way we aren't ready for. What on earth is Tsukishiro's next move going to be when he realizes his best pawn just got completely flipped by Ayanokoji's terrifying psychological manipulation? The stakes have literally never been higher for this show. Drop your theories below, subscribe to Zero Anime, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.